It's only week 7, but Saturday night in Corvallis serves as a Pac-12 title elimination game, as number 18 UCLA takes on number 15 Oregon State. Both teams already have suffered one conference loss this year, UCLA falling to Utah, Oregon State falling to Washington State. The winner of this game keeps those conference title hopes alive, but the loser is most likely out of contention. So the million-dollar question is, who gets this potential season-saving win? Well, that's the question we're going to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today to break down everything you need to know about the Bruins and the Beavers. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. And of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. We are on a 36-15 run right now. It's some of the best spread picks in the entire country, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers, just like we've done each of the last 5 years. So if you want guaranteed winnings, if you want money right back in your pocket and the best customer service any handicapper is going to give you, this is the place for you. It's a full year-long subscription. You buy now, you get through October of next year. It's the best deal in the country, one of the lowest prices in the country. Go sign up for those picks today. Also, check out our Patreon account and our mailing address to send us some of your team's gear to be featured in every single Gridiron Expert video. So let's take a look at this game, guys. Top 20 showdown, I should say. UCLA, Oregon State. These two teams, to me, match up really, really well. A lot of similarities between both these programs. And you talk about the Pac-12 beating up on one another. It's kind of funny how this has worked. You know, UCLA lost to Utah, who Oregon State beat. And then Oregon State, their lone loss was to Washington State, who UCLA beat just last week. So, again, it's just the wild circle of life in the Pac-12. All these teams beating up on each other and could ultimately result in the conference not getting a team into the college football playoff. And we'll talk much more about that later on this year. But you focus on the game at hand, Saturday night in Corvallis. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball with UCLA. This is a very good and efficient UCLA offense. And really, you would expect that from a coach in Chip Kelly. You would expect that from an offensive guru like him. The Bruins are averaging over 459 yards per game, 259 through the air, 200 on the ground. They had 470 yards of offense last week against Washington State. And that's a Washington State team, guys, that just prize themselves on their offense and the ability to air it out, but also Jake Dicker, a defensive-minded coach, to get torched like that, it was a bit shocking. The Bruins were balanced, 290 yards through the air against the Cougars, 180 on the ground. And let's keep in mind, UCLA is putting up these numbers and thriving offensively with a true freshman quarterback. Dante Moore comes in here and has already thrown for over 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. He's played extremely well for a guy that's just now starting his college football career. Give him a lot of credit, not just for his play, but the development that Chip Kelly and his staff are doing with him out in Los Angeles. Take a look at Carson Steele, transfer running back in for the Bruins, 412 yards, averaging nearly 6 yards per carry. This is a team that loves to spread out the ball, right? There's no really one true X factor. You got 3 guys that have over 100 rushing yards on the year. You've got 6 guys that have over 100 reception yards on the year, led by J. Michael Sturdivant. This is a good UCLA offense that shares the ball well, they're efficient, they're fast, and they can be explosive when they want to be. Biggest thing, and the biggest gripe I have about UCLA, honestly, is while Dante Moore has been phenomenal, only 4 interceptions, it's got to watch out on those pick sixes. Got to watch out on the turnovers, period. Threw a costly pick 6 in their game against Utah, threw a big pick 6 last week right before halftime against Washington State, 88-yard pick 6. Can't do that deep into the red zone or deep into your own territory like he did against Utah. If he cuts back on those turnovers, starts to make better decisions, watch out. This guy's going to be really good for a long, long time. Oregon State, offensively, they're good too, right? And then they're also very balanced. 243 passing yards per game, 205 rushing yards per game. This is a Beavers team that, again, I think matches up well offensively with UCLA, but they're a team that wants to run the ball. They want to lean more heavily on their run game than DJ Uyunglele at quarterback. You look at the running backs. Damian Martinez, already 586 yards on the year. He's going to crack 600 yards by the time this game is over. Deshaun Fenwick, 330 yards on the year. So you've got 2 guys in your backfield that have rushed for over 300 yards. DJ Uyunglele is great. He's been really good in Corvallis, better than he was during his time at Clemson. Over 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And their offensive line's been phenomenal. They've protected DJ Uyunglele. They've only given up 6 sacks this year. They're creating running lanes for those 2 running backs. This Oregon State offense is really, really good. They're not the most explosive offense in the world. I would definitely give that edge from explosiveness over to UCLA, but they are efficient. They are capable of scoring, just like they did last week when they put up 52 points on California. The passing game gives this Oregon State offense that extra element, something that they really didn't have much of last year, but it's here this year, and you've seen the drastic difference and what it's done for this team. And then also, credit to the wide receivers there. The passing game's an extra element because of their quarterback play, but also the receivers that are making it happen. Two guys that had over 300 reception yards already on the year, and Silas Bolden and Anthony Gold. This is a good Oregon State offense. Again, not nearly as explosive as UCLA, but they can wear you down and they can score, which means this is a tough test for UCLA's defense. This is going to be not an easy game at all for the Bruins defense, one that's actually been pretty stingy so far this year, giving up just 254 yards per game, period. Not 254 passing, 254 rushing, 254 total. And they held Washington State's offense, a Washington State team that wants to air it out with Cam Ward, that torched Oregon State through the air, that torched Wisconsin through the air, held that offense to just 216 yards on the day, held them to only 12 rushing yards on the day, and held them to 17 points. And really, they did hold them to 10 points, because 7 of Washington State's 17 points came on that 88-yard pick six. That's not the defense's fault. So really, UCLA held the Cougars to 216 yards and 10 points. That's really, really impressive. That is a very, very difficult thing to do. Put that in comparison to Oregon State, who gave up, 38 points to the Cougars? Drastic difference there. Oregon State, though, you can make the argument, is the most balanced team that UCLA has seen this year. They're the most balanced offense that this UCLA defense has seen this year, because while Washington State's good, they're not a run-heavy team. They don't want to run the ball. They want to air it out, and everybody knew that. This is a UCLA team that's only giving up 64.6 rushing yards per game. They are stingy up front, and if that can still hold, if they can still bottle up the ground game, bottle up the ground attack, Oregon State's in trouble. Because if they can't get the ground game going, if the Beavers can't have their balance, that means everything's on DG Uiagalelei. That means he has to do everything. And is he capable of that? Maybe, but it's definitely not what he wants to do, and that sure as heck isn't what the Beavers want their offense to be, is a one-dimensional offense solely relying on their passing attack. They don't want that. They can't have that. So if UCLA, keep it up. Keep stuffing the run like you've been doing all year long. If you do that, you're going to win this game. Oregon State, on the other hand, their defense typically a strength under Jonathan Smith, 325 yards per game. That's all they're giving up, 230 through the air, only 96.2 on the ground. So both teams being very stingy with the ground game kind of comes down to quarterback play here. If both teams stifle the run, who can deliver through the air? Who can win the game solely through the air? Will it be Dante Moore? Will it be DG Uiagalelei? This is a team that, I think if you're Oregon State, are probably more scared of the pass than the run. I think you'd be more frightened of a team torching you through the air than you are about a team going up and showing up on the ground. But really, Oregon State, for me, has been wildly inconsistent defensively. They've been good, but you go look at the one loss they had this year to Washington State. I know it was on the road in Pullman, but in that game alone, they gave up 422 yards passing to the Cougars. Got torched through the air. Last week, yes, they beat California, won that game 52-40. They got 40 points and allowed 241 rushing yards. So we've seen Oregon State get torched through the air. We've seen them get torched on the ground. Can they put together a complete game and bottle up this UCLA offense, force Dante Moore into a handful of mistakes like we've seen him do a handful of times this year, and force them to not be as explosive? Limit those big-time plays. That's what you got to do if you're Oregon State. You can't allow UCLA to come into your house and light it up. You can't afford them to come in and light it up through the air while you stifle the run, because that's not going to matter. You have to put together a full 60-minute defensive game plan to stop this type of offense. So, what will happen in Corvallis? Again, I think these two teams match up really well with each other. They both have very similar statistics. The style of play is a little bit different, but ultimately, they're going to match up well. I expect this to be a close game. I would not be shocked to see this game come down late into the fourth quarter. Would not be shocked to see this game decided by one possession. But ultimately, I have to lean and I have to side with Oregon State. I'm going to give the edge to the Beavers, who I think can wear down UCLA's defense with their balanced offensive attack, and I think their home field advantage is drastically underrated. Corvallis, guys, has become a very difficult place to play. The Beavers are 15-1 at home dating back to 2021. That lone loss coming, last year against USC in the final 2 minutes? A one-possession loss to the Trojans there. This is a good Oregon State team. This is a good Oregon State home crowd. A night game in Corvallis for a top 20 showdown and what it could potentially be a Pac-12 title elimination game. Yeah, their fans are going to be rocking. I think Jonathan Smith and the Beavers deliver. I think they get a massive home victory. It's close, but give me this Oregon State defense to come up with one massive stop in the final few minutes. Oregon State survives. They get the win. They keep those Pac-12 title hopes alive, while UCLA drops yet another heartbreaking game. So there you go, guys. There you go. Oregon State getting the massive win, our last ranked versus ranked matchup of the week. Leave your comments and thoughts below, and let's get ready for another massive college football Saturday. As always, please continue to like, to comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. You do not want to miss out on those picks, guys. Some of the best in the entire country on a 36-15 run right now. You're missing out if you haven't signed up. Go do it today for that full year-long subscription. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.